everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for being here. Your time is super valuable. We're going to let a few more people come on in. I'm so excited to, on International Women's Day, to welcome my friend and colleague, Janie Coffey. Welcome, 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 everybody, to the Lisa Parenteau Monthly Mastermind. We do this almost every second Friday at 12 noon Eastern. Sometimes we have to accommodate different times and days for our presenters, but usually it's the second Friday of the month. And these are really designed for our team and for agents at large. My feeling is always lifting others as we rise, and I just want to be able to offer value and help us to continue to hone our craft. I see that a brand new team member, Greg Holmes, is on. Very excited to welcome Gregory to our team. That's really exciting. Also, I wanted to say a couple of words about welcoming Janie on International Women's Day. Of course, March is Women's History Month, and today, the 8th of the month of March, is International Women's Day, and it's such an exciting time to feel inspired and empowered. And also, Victoria Costner, I was just sharing with Janie before we started. I was just sharing some stuff on the big agent meeting this morning of EXP, and Victoria mentioned owning our narrative. And I thought that is just such an important piece of our conversations today. We can sit back and look at all the news on Inman and New York Times and other places that, wherever that you hear disparaging things about the world, our profession, our brokerage. You know what? Amazing things are happening. We're among the company of amazing agents every day, like my good friend Janie, and we can own our narrative. We just started an amazing initiative called My EXP. And there's going to be weekly content for the next 10 weeks, shareables on the EXP Instagram, all the socials, and they really are all about empowering each other and owning our narrative. So I want to just give a plug for that for sure. Make sure that you are following EXP Realty if you can on all the socials, and then share that content. The next 10 weeks, as I said, it's going to be a special program with amazing shareables. But let me get to today's mastermind, which is our guest is Janie Coffey. And I know Janie as an amazing luxury agent. She's in the St. Augustine's market in Florida. But I really know Janie because Janie has been almost single-handedly with 4 other individuals helped to create the luxury division here at EXP. And many of us who came here, who were luxury agents in our past brokerage, were going, oh, please, God, because, we had that blue and orange bug and the logo, and but we loved the business model, and we tried to kind of work on our own stuff. And so we were all going to meetings and contributing in any way we could. But Janie, along with 4 of our other colleagues, was one of the Luxury Advisory Council members, original members. And I was just saying to Janie, you must be so incredibly proud of that because, we all contribute in different ways, but that will leave a legacy for so many agents that come after us. And we'll do another piece on our luxury division because it's just stunning and continues to become more stunning every day. But what you have done, what you helped to create through collaboration and vision is something that I personally want to let you know has meant such a difference to my business and to our team. And so I thank you for that. And I thank you for your generosity in being here today and sharing about dominating the luxury market in this shifting time. And that's something that we also continue to talk about and want to be able to language in ways of certainty to our clients, because our clients need certainty from us, no matter what is all surrounding everything else, right? They need to know that we're confident in what we're saying, what we're doing. So with all of that, I can't wait to hear what your presentation is today. And I know that you're going to put your contact information in for everyone to share. Usually what we do, everyone, is we kind of do about 45 or so minutes, 45, 50 minutes of presentation, and then we'll try to have it, 10 minutes or so for Q&A. If you have a question that's like bubbling up and you don't want to forget it, go ahead and put that in the chat. We'll keep an eye on all of that, and we'll be able to make sure we touch on it for sure. But we're probably just going to let Janie run because she says she's got more than an hour's worth of content for us. So that's amazing in and of itself. So go ahead, Janie. I'll let you take it away.
Awesome. Thank you. And yeah, Lisa, that was a perfect tee off because you actually spoke to a lot of things we're going to talk about in this presentation. I'm going to share my screen right now. And like Lisa said, this is being recorded. So I don't know if you're like me that you actually watch, I watch any training video at normally 1.5 to 1.75 speed because I'm normally trying to get more information in than the time I have in a day. So I'm going to be talking a little bit like that because I do have a lot to share, but I'm super excited and super honored. Sorry, I'm just trying to clean my screen up here a little bit. Um, Super excited just to be with you guys today, this time, March 8th, 2024, because I feel like we have so much excitement ahead of us. And I want to say first and foremost, like this is definitely not like a doom and gloom kind of presentation. I'm not being an Eeyore over here. And you don't need to take notes because I actually have a workbook that's accompanying workbook for this presentation that at the end of the presentation between Lisa and myself, we'll share with you multiple ways to get this workbook. But I'm going to cram a lot of stuff in this next hour. So I just want you to kind of pay attention, put your phones down if you can. It's only 45 minutes, 50 minutes. And my whole goal here is like bring a lot of value to you guys and at least share at least one tangible, actionable item that you can take away right away today that inspires you, motivates you, lights you up, gets you excited so that you can actually take action and move on it and be like lit up and inspired. So again, sorry that I'm going to go a little fast, but I want to get all this in and leave time for a little bit of Q&A at the end. And as Lisa said, the topic of this is conquering a stormy market. And I started out with this concept of conquering a stormy market at the beginning of 2023, maybe even the end of 2022, because we already started to feel that shift. And, you know, if you've only been in real estate since 2010, 2011 and onward, we've been in nothing but an up market. So it's felt good. And if you were in real estate during COVID, especially in certain markets, it was like really good, especially here in Florida where I am. But as things kind of went wonky last year in 2023 with interest rates, with reduced inventory, all this stuff, people, especially agents, started to get like really anxious and nervous. And unfortunately, we've seen a lot of people actually leave the real estate market. They did not renew their license this past January and February. And then when you put on top of that, like all the law firm stuff, I mean, the legal suits and all of this, and like Lisa's saying, all the news lines, there's like a lot of anxiety out there, especially for agents who haven't been in during any kind of shifting market. So my whole goal with today's presentation is to help share with you how this is normally a market, a shifting market. A changing market is often the market where an agent can grab the biggest foothold of their business so that as we exit a shifting market, they have now a much larger chunk of the market that they want to serve. So hopefully that seems exciting to you. Hopefully you're like, wow, I really would like to put those headlines down and not read them and not get anxiety about them. And remember, Inman specifically, but most of these other sites, their whole job is to get people to click on their sites. That's almost all news this day. How they are monetized is getting people to click because they have ad sales. So they are going to make juicy headlines to make people click. So don't let those clickbait type of headlines kind of freak you out. But I want to start a little bit. I'm just going to spend about 2 minutes and give you a background on me, mostly so that it gives you context of how I kind of gained this knowledge over all my years in the real estate business and how I've used it in my own business. I'm not just talking from theory. I'm not just talking from what I've seen other people do or I've gleaned from other people or read or watched a course. It's actually kind of what I've actually done in my career in real estate. I got my broker's license exactly 1 year and 1 day after becoming a licensed real estate agent in the early 2000s, which is funny now that you think about it, because I had this big vision of, you know, we all want to create something special. And I opened that in 2005. So leading into, well, I got my license in 2005 and opened my brokerage around 2006, 2007. And if any of you are in real estate around 2007, you probably get how funny that actually is. And I opened a bricks and mortar office on top of that in Coral Gables, which is a very high-end community in Miami. And that's when my first pivot came along really quickly, because I had this lease. I was new to real estate. I didn't have clients. And as you guys remember, the whole market shifted in 2007. It just like kind of evaporated. But we held it together. We pivoted and we became really, really good at luxury short sales, because that was kind of the only thing selling back then. And I had done so well that I ended up moving. Sotheby's International Realty came to Miami at that time, just a little after. And so after about 5 years of owning my own brokerage, I moved over to Sotheby's, did so well that I actually eventually became the executive vice president of one of the largest Sotheby's franchises in the world. And I did that for about 4 years, which was amazing, because all the top producers who normally won't share their kind of secrets and what's going on with other agents, they try to keep everything close to the heart, close to the chest. They would share it with me because I was their manager and I was kind of a person that they felt like they could trust. Ended up leaving the Sotheby's brand, which I still love as a brand. I absolutely do. But like Lisa said, I love the model here at EXP infinitely more. But I became a founding agent for Compass and helped Compass launch in Northeast Florida. I moved to St. Augustine and Jacksonville area and helped launch Compass. And I was with that brokerage for about 3 years and absolutely, again, loved it too, but fell in love with the model here at EXP. But I did come where they had, like Lisa was saying, that kind of really ugly blue and orange puzzle piece kind of logo. And decided we needed to do something different, and kept kind of getting in the ear of EXP corporate, and finally got them to agree to launch EXP Luxury. Also in that time, I've been voted 100 most influential people at Inman. I've won state and area highest sales, highest production sales, highest price point sales, things like that, all being kind of scrappy and just getting down to basics. So that's what we're going to share here today. And like Lisa said, the 5 luxury advisory council members at EXP helped craft what we think is a beautiful, beautiful brand. We are so lucky at EXP. We have 5 to 7 people at EXP corporate that have come from Sotheby's corporate and come from Compass corporate. So you can kind of see that also in a lot of the EXP luxury branding and aesthetic and flavor. But we're able to deliver everything that those 2 brands and other brands often deliver at a fraction of the cost, and in a way not every high-end luxury brand here in the US is international, but EXP is. So anyway, that's it as far as my background. So you can see I've been a top producer, I've been a top producing team leader, I've set records, and I managed a lot of top producers, and I've crammed all my knowledge into the next kind of 45 minutes that we're going to share. But before we do, I really want to talk to you too about the other side of me. And the other side of me is kind of like an extreme adventurer, which is probably pretty funny because that doesn't always go together with like a mid-50s single woman or a luxury real estate salesperson. But extreme adventure is my true, true love. And the reason I point this out is this was me in Antarctica a year and a half ago, December, a year and a half ago, where I slept overnight on the ice shelf. And it turned out that that night that we were sleeping there, we ended up having a complete whiteout blizzard with like 35 to 45 mile an hour winds. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to Antarctica or slept in Antarctica. You can't have tents because it is so windy that a tent would blow away. So this is what we looked like. This is my feet in my little sleeping bag. It's called a bivy sack. It's like a sleeping bag that you can close up over your face. And we actually had to dig like a little hole to drop us down so that the wind would kind of go over us. And the reason I'm telling you this story, by the way, this is 4:30, 4:45 in the morning. It doesn't get dark there in the winter. But the reason I'm sharing this story with you is the perfect metaphor for kind of a shifting, changing market. And what I mean is, this was an unexpected storm, and it was fairly brutal. Like, I'm not going to lie. I started praying, not for myself, but I did start to pray that everybody we were with, we were about 30 people, would actually make it through that night. It was that bad. And the wind had kicked up so bad. You can see right here, this is a drop-off ledge where I was literally worried that my baby sack was going to get picked up and flipped into the water. And this is the Antarctic Ocean right here. Like I was literally afraid of that. I was afraid of people freezing to death because it was so cold. And there was no way for us to be rescued because with that storm, there was no way to get, they took us in rubber boats called Zodiacs from the ship to the land. And there was no way in that storm that they could do that. So we just had to hunker down. But I had brought 3 sets of mittens, 3 hats, 3 pairs of socks, little hand warmers. And so during that whole night where I was kind of hunkered down in my little bivy sack, I didn't put everything on at once. I first put on some gloves and then I waited till I got cold and then I put on a second hat and then I waited till I got cold and then I put on another pair of socks. I pulled my boots inside and I put them in the bivy sack so it held the bivy sack up over my face. So it's like a little mini baby tent. And that ended up being probably one of the things that made me the most comfortable because everybody else had the snow piling on them and they started to get claustrophobic. And one woman actually got out of her bivy sack in the middle of the night and just stood there for 45 minutes. So by 5 in the morning, 4:45, you can see I'm peeking my head out. And I was still like toasty, cozy, super warm because I was prepared, because I had the right mindset, and because I always deployed something else through the whole night that gave me hope and warmth to get through the night. And so I share this with you because I think it's like a perfect metaphor for the agents in our industry who have gotten so freaked out by changing markets, by lawsuits, by interest rates, by reduced inventory, all the stuff, and they're not deploying anything else. They're just getting out of their bivy sack, so to speak, in the middle of the night and just standing there like in a complete catatonic, paralyzed state. Or worse thing, they're leaving our industry entirely. And that's why I wanted to share this story with you, is to say the mindset, the preparation, and then constantly doing something so you are in charge of moving yourself forward can be the thing that makes all the difference. And so I wanted to share this word with you. And I don't know if any of you are like this, but I consider myself a serranophile. And what a serranophile is a person who like loves storms. That's probably what also helped me get through that storm. But I love lightning. I love thunder. I love storms. I find them exciting. And my whole goal with our presentation here is to help you guys consider yourselves serranophiles as well. And that you have the right mindset, the right preparation, the right outlook, action, self-determination, and reliance and the ability to look for opportunities in this market and see them in a whole different light and see them as an opportunity that you're going to jump on and take action on rather than wait for the market to change or wait for somebody to save you or wait for your brokerage, whatever that is, to make a difference. You guys taking action yourself and seeing yourself in charge will make all the difference here. So hopefully I'll ignite some exciting spark in you as well. So something that's really important for us to realize is no matter what's going on with the market, real estate doesn't stop. Like properties don't stop being sold. Sometimes they take longer to be sold. Sometimes there's fewer that are being sold, but they don't stop. And our whole job as real estate agents is to be part of those transactions. How do we make ourselves be with representing the buyers or the sellers, or if you're in a place where rentals are paid well, representing the landlords or the tenants. So it's all perspective. Instead of letting external forces kind of drive us nuts and make us nervous, how can we be part of and take advantage of all the opportunities available in any shifting market, whether it's this lawsuit market that's making us all nervous, whether it's interest rates, whether it's up inventory, down inventory, whatever it is, bad headlines, whatever it is, how can we think of what is the opportunity that I can make it and take advantage of and take my unfair advantage of to grow my market share. So what I mean by that, like I said, unfortunately, a lot of agents, we saw it in the big recession too. A lot of agents just left the market, especially right now when we had renewals. That means there's fewer agents out there competing for the properties that are being bought and sold. And you can look and often in the hot market, say like 2022, where a bunch of agents came into the business and got their license, they're popping off like a deal here, a deal here, a deal here. But all those agents doing 1 and 2 deals really kind of shrunk the opportunity. Now that a lot of them are no longer with us, unfortunately, maybe they'll come back. That means there's more opportunity for us, and there's more opportunity for us to shine in the face or in the impression of the buyers and sellers out there. So there's less competition. Potentially, depending on where you are in the country, there might be more listings because properties are taking a little bit longer to sell in some parts of the country. So there's more listings. It was a little bit hard in 2022 to get listings just because everything was going so fast and it was so competitive. Now you actually have a chance to get listings. And if you're working with buyers, you might have more listings to actually show them. And it's less competitive potentially than 2022 was because we've entered at least a little bit more of a stable market. So it's a little bit easier to work with buyers if you are in the mindset to present yourself very professionally. The other drum I've been banging as of late is if you're not used to using a buyer brokerage agreement form with your buyers, start to really hone those skills and start to get used to using them. Because I do believe the market is changing for us as far as that goes. And I think that you need to get really comfortable getting buyer broker agreements signed and in place, because I have started to see an occasional seller here or there offer like 0% commission. And you don't want to be the buyer. I've already seen a few. You don't want to be the buyer's agent who gets somebody under contract and realizes there's 0 commission and you've not already had that conversation. But also, some sellers have decided not to sell their properties right now for various reasons. So there might be more rental opportunities to represent people as landlords, or more opportunities to help place tenants that will become future buyers. Those landlords might become future sellers. So it's just more opportunity when you shift how you look at this changing market, or changed market now, I should say. Sellers often also right now, because the market is so wonky, a few years ago, a lot of them didn't even feel like they needed us all that much because everything was selling. Like the minute you listed it, it was selling. It was, multiple offers, all this stuff. But sellers are coming back down to kind of reality of really seeing that they need us. And I'm not saying every seller. There's some sellers who still want to go, for sale by owner. There's some sellers who now want to bang us up on commission. You don't need to work with them. You need to create a big enough funnel that you are working with the people who are looking for you, who appreciate you, who value you, and are willing to pay whatever commission fee that you look for yourself and arrange with them. So let's rise up. Let's look for the opportunities and figure out how we can be perceived as the expert, as the go-to needed expert, whether that's working with buyers or working with sellers or landlords or renters. How can you shift how you are seeing, like Lisa said, changing the narrative about how you specifically are seen, not just our industry, not just the market, you specifically. How can you shift that narrative? There has never been an easier way than creating your own narrative than in 2024 with all of this social media. It was very different years ago. We had a very hard time before social media and blogging and video and all this existed. It was super hard to kind of rebrand yourself, shift that narrative. You can do that now. So really fast, we're going to help you define what is the luxury market in the area that you serve, because a lot of people have this kind of concept of luxury as this super high thing, and it's really not always as high as you think. You might already be in that market, or you might not know where to find it. We're going to help you develop a quick business plan. We're going to help you select your own focus and then determine the best methods that work for you to find those luxury buyers and sellers. So Luxury by the Institute of Luxury Home Marketing is identified at the top 10% in that market. So you would just simply take your closed sales in your MLS, the last 6 months, the last 12 months, whatever you want, sort them by price point, starting from the top. And if there's 10,000 properties sold last year, the top 1,000 sorted by price point of closed sales, the top 1,000, whatever that price break is, That's luxury, everything in that and above. I have found, because I work with a lot of agents, the top 10% in my mind is often more like starter luxury. You'll have to look in your own market, your own MLS to see what it is. But I think really the top 5% is more like luxury, what we might to start to think of as luxury. And the top 1% is um, uber luxury. But we often in our heads identify uber luxury as luxury, and we psych ourselves out thinking that's not really available to me or not as accessible to me or there's not enough, when really if you look in your own MLS, so in my area here in Northeast Florida, 700,000 and above is that starter luxury price point. 900,000 and above is luxury, and 2 million and above is uber luxury. We don't have a whole lot of 5, 10, I think we just had a $16 million property sell. We don't have a lot of that. We're not like Miami or Hawaii or New York. But a lot of agents in my area might only hone in on that 2 million and think that's luxury and not realize, no, it's really everything from 700,000 and above. So I would challenge you first as your first kind of exercise is understand what is luxury in your market, starter luxury, luxury, and uber luxury, and what areas of your market are those properties. So that's a really good start. The next thing you'll want to do is also figure out, I'm also into boating and, like I said, extreme travel. So that's why I have a lot of metaphors here. If you are sailing and you're going into a stormy weather and the waves are really bad, you don't turn your boat sideways because it's going to capsize. You normally turn your boat into the waves to go up and through them. It's normally the fastest way out, up and just dice right through. So what you need to do is decide, do you really want to focus on buyers right now based on your market, your interest? Do you want to focus on sellers? Or, like I said, maybe landlords and renters, but you've got to kind of pick a main lane. That doesn't mean you work with the others, but you do need to kind of focus yourself on something. Buyers in luxury are normally always going to be a little easier to work with if you're just starting. The higher you go in price point on the list side, it gets more and more competitive. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but if you're just starting luxury, then I would start to focus on buyers first. If you're already a comfortable listing agent and you've got some sales behind you, then start to focus on the luxury listing side. If you're already a luxury agent, then you might want to push that up to the uber luxury and start not exclusively, but at least part of your business. And the reason I say not exclusively is if a market completely turns like it did in 2027, those of us who are in luxury exclusively, it was very, very hard because we had to shift and adapt because when the market shifts too much, luxury sellers generally don't have to sell. Luxury buyers don't have to buy. They just wait it out. So I don't want you to put all your eggs in that uber luxury basket, but that starter luxury basket is a pretty good sandbox to play in. Excuse me. If you've ever watched the Finest Hour movie, I love it. You should definitely watch it. It's based on a true story. You'll see what I'm talking about, how the boat goes straight into the waves. And that's a strategy about taking on any kind of storm shift or anything like that in a strong and powerful way, because that's my whole goal of today's training. The next thing you want to do is like select your area, because you can't be all things to all people. You need to focus on some kind of area. That can be a geographic area, that can be a property type, that can be a people type even. And it doesn't mean you're not going to do real estate with people of different, in a different area or a different property type, but to get the most out of your marketing efforts, to get the most out of your knowledge building. If you focus on an area, it also will allow you, especially with social media, it will allow you to become that superstar, getting that unfair advantage, unfair share of market share a lot faster when you hone in on something. So for me, I'm in downtown historic St. Augustine, Florida. So I specialize in two things: waterfront property, because we're right at the beach, the ocean as well. So waterfront property and historic downtown properties. Those are my niches. That's where I've built up my name. In the past, when I was in Miami, my niche was equestrian real estate, because there's a lot of equestrian real estate down there. So you don't have to only do that, but find something that you're passionate about. It can even be a people type. It could be, sports and entertainers. Here at EXP, we do have the sports and entertainment division. It might be young medical professionals because they are often around hospitals, and there's normally lending programs for young doctors. So it could be a people type. It doesn't have to be a physical location like a neighborhood or a city or a zip. It doesn't have to be a property type, but give some thought. Where is the luxury in your area that you serve? And where is kind of a special niche that you can make your own? And again, dive into the waves, push everything behind you where you start to grow as the dominant kind of well-known expert for that area. And then you also want to analyze the trends, both for your MLS in general and the areas that you're considering. So what's the average days on market? What's the average list to sales price ratio? What's the average expiration rate? And you want to look at that because you might identify, say, 3 neighborhoods that you could really hone in on, or 3 zip codes or something like that. And one might be selling much, much better than the other. So if you're working with buyers, you're going to look for an area that has a longer days on market because that's going to give your buyers an advantage. If you're working with sellers, you're looking for an area that has a shorter days on market. Same thing, list to sales price ratio, and how many actually expire unsold in the market. Those are going to give you, and you want the opposite. If you're working with buyers mostly or sellers, you want the opposite. So do that analysis first. Compare it against your whole MLS for the same price range. So if I'm diving into a neighborhood that's, say, 750 to 1.2 million, I'm going to do my whole MLS 750 to 1.2 million. I'm going to figure out what's the average days on market, what's the list to sales price ratio average, and what's the expiration rate, so that when I look at my own area, that's 750 to 1.2 million, I want to have at least those same kind of stats or better. I don't want worse, right? At least depending on if I want to work with buyers or sellers. The other thing you want to do is a SWOT analysis, SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And that's where you're going to look at, is there a dominant agent? Is there a dominant brokerage? Is somebody doing something really well? Is there a big need in that area? And I say this, sorry, I'm going so fast because we have so much to cover. But I say this because a lot of people get psyched out and think, oh, so-and-so Susie Q owns that market. Nobody can touch that market. One of my own organization members the other day told me that a certain brokerage had, she believed, 97 to 98% of the market in the area that she wanted to serve. And I said, let's take a look at it. When we looked at it, they had less than maybe 20% or 40%, whatever it was. It's still dominant. Don't get me wrong. Still dominant. 20% is really, really strong for one agent or one brokerage, but 40% is very strong. But conversely, that still meant that 60% of the market was still available. And all the rest of that was like one-offs here and there. One agent had 2 or 3, one agent had 2 or 3, several had 1. That means 60% of the market is still available. When you look at it that way, you realize there's a lot more opportunity than you thought. This person or this brokerage, this agent has done a really good job of marketing themselves, and they've created that dominant agent kind of presence, like Lisa said, back to, creating your own narrative. So you can create your presence too. Just do a really good job. If you don't yet have listings in that area, you can be doing market reports. You can be doing special architects or something else going on in that area. You can ask agents in your brokerage if you can host their open houses if they have listings in that area. There's lots of ways, even before you have listings, to create the presence of a very strong agent, which in turn will bring the business to make you that very, very strong agent in that area, the agent that everybody else is scared to compete against. The next thing you have to do is create your lead gen plan. This is where we as agents fall so short, is, again, we're often waiting, just like the person sitting in the bivy sack without the socks, without the things, without the boots holding the thing. They were just waiting and they were completely panicked. No, we have to be proactive. We have to generate our own leads. We have to do our follow-up. And I'm not here to say this is the way. Too many coaches and trainers say you have to do this, you have to do this. If there's no way, it's like a fingerprint. It is not a blueprint. And you have to find your fingerprint of what you are passionate about, what your skill set is good with, what you enjoy doing, and what you can do day in and day out, even when it's boring, even when it's not getting you the results instantaneously. What can you commit to? I think everybody should be doing an amazing job of market reports in their area, because a market report is something you do once a month. It might take you an hour to do, but then you can repurpose that into so many different pieces of content. You can make videos, you can make shorts, you can make emails, you can make printouts, you can make postcards, you can have a monthly event like at a coffee shop about market reports at our country club or something like that. Everybody should be doing market reports. But on top of that, pick one or two, no more, things that you can commit to for the next 6 to 12 months to absolutely master and dominate. That could be social media, that could be direct mail, that could be hosting amazing open houses, that could be doing targeted pay-per-click ads and really getting into pay-per-click ads and funnels, that could be video domination or sphere of influence if you already have a strong sphere, networking if you're a very social person. Like, I'm not a social person. I'm like a loudmouth introvert. I don't like to be social. I like marketing though. I like digital marketing. I like that. So I focus on that. You might be a very social person. So instead of trying to do all the things and doing all of them at like 10%, pick two things and really dive in and master those things. Like, really take advantage of all the free training on YouTube, or take some high level courses that a lot of real estate trainers have on different things. And definitely master the market report in the area that, after you've determined what is the best area by doing the stats and the SWOT analysis of the competition, do the market reports every single month and really get good at those and get good at repurposing that content and getting it out there, because it's going to lay breadcrumbs for you, digital breadcrumbs where people can find you month after month because of the SEO that's going to live on much longer than that one piece of content. The next thing you need to do is really create, as you build your presence in luxury, you need world-class materials. And that's why Lisa and I were saying here at EXP, we're so excited about the luxury division, because we have world-class materials. Our assets are gorgeous. We have really amazing marketing plans, listing plans, all kinds of things like that. So you've got to create world-class materials. And I mean, have beautiful, beautiful business cards, have beautiful folders or presentation boxes or books or whatever like that. You cannot do well in luxury, even starter luxury, if you're chinsing out and being cheap on your materials, because that is going to be seen. If that's how you market yourself, how are you going to market their house, right? And you've all seen the luxury properties in there where somebody didn't even take great photos, or they just have very basic photos. They didn't get the drone, they didn't get the 3D walkthrough, they didn't do the video. As you go up in price point, the more and more important it is that you present yourself really well to instill confidence that you're going to present their property really well. The other thing you need to do is really, once you've determined that niche, whether that's a property niche, a people niche, or a geographic niche, you really need to hone in on the market knowledge of that area so that you can speak very well and eloquently and informed about the market, whether you're talking to buyers or sellers, because they are going to be really informed. There's nobody more informed than a buyer looking in a market. That's what they do all night. They sit on Zillow. Or if they're looking to sell, they probably know this one sold for this and mine's better than that. So you've got to have that good market knowledge. Spend 10, 15 minutes every morning informing yourself, looking at what's selling, look at what's expiring, going to broker open houses or caravans if you have them. And then you have to deploy all of this with consistency. I have a professional decathlete on my team. He's a relatively new agent, but he's still competing professionally in that sport. Decathlon is the one that has like 10 sports, not like a triathlon that has 3. But when we did the training for real estate, he just approached it like his job, just like with his sports, where he's like, my coach says to do this, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to outthink myself or outtalk myself. I'm just going to do it. And in a very short order, he became very successful as a real estate agent because he just did the work. He didn't come up with excuses, just like he doesn't come up with excuses why not to train or eat poorly or not sleep well. It's the same thing with real estate. Doing the work, getting out there, doing your lead gen, doing your follow-up, and just doing the work every single day. And then kind of the final thing for lead gen that we can do right now in 2024, that's a huge gift for us, is expireds. Because we have not had a lot of expireds in the last couple of years as everything was selling, but they are coming back, and they're coming back with a vengeance. Expireds was how I really put my own self on the market, going after luxury expireds, and in a brand new market, by the way. And I did it with a no-call expired system that I came up with, that I can tell you a little bit how to get more information on that later. But expireds are kind of your secret sauce that you can add in here. And then there's a few minor magic ingredients that you need to interweave into everything that we just spoke about. The practical and the strategic things we just spoke about is you absolutely have to have confidence, not ego, not bravado, not arrogance, but confidence. Because as you go up higher and higher in price point, especially on the list side, our sellers are used to dealing with the best CPAs, the best attorneys, the best financial planners. They themselves are probably very skilled and successful at whatever they do as a profession. They are looking for somebody with the equal amount of confidence. It doesn't have to mean you're already there with sales, but you can't be mousy going to present yourself as a listing agent. If you have the confidence that comes from the market knowledge, that comes from having great materials, that comes from really knowing your stuff, even if you haven't yet sold in that area or in that price point, that's going to get you very, very far ahead. You also have to have kind of assuredness and determination and strength and excitement. That's what especially sellers are looking for. And as we get into the world of proper buyer consultations and proper buyer brokerage agreements, you really have to bring that skill set too, because if somebody's going to sign an agreement with you, they have to be very, very confident that you're going to work with them as a buyer to get them the best deal possible. And again, being mousy or being unsure or unsure of yourself is not going to give confidence to your buyers or sellers that you're going to be the very best person for them. And so as you notice, I don't know if you noticed the images as we went through, we were kind of coming through the storm. It was stormy, and then we started to see the storm breaking, and now you can see the sun is coming out. So let's recap. What is your path to bring it all together, what we shared, and then we'll go into the Q&A. Very first step is determining what's luxury in your market. That might be 500,000. That might be 350. That might be 2.5 million. That starter point. So do the research in your MLS to determine what is luxury in your market. And then decide what is your business plan. Do you want to go after buyers? Do you want to go after sellers? You don't only work with them, but you've got to kind of pull in your focus so that your marketing starts to feed you something and the rest will grow from there. Select your focus area. Is that a geographic area? Is that a property type? Is that a people type? And do your research on it. Do your research for the statistics and do your research for your SWOT analysis for the competition and figure out what's your unique angle to get in there. And then select your lead generation systems. What are the things you love? You've got to stay on top of the market. So everybody should be doing amazing market reports every single month. But on top of doing those market reports and repurposing them in many different ways, what else are you going to add for lead gen? Is that going to be video? Is that going to be open houses? Is that going to be calling, direct mail, whatever it is? Don't think that you need to do all the things. Think I need to do like 2 things really, really well until you're like a complete expert. And then you have to develop your world-class materials that go along with that. If you are at EXP or you're in the EXP luxury division, that becomes really, really easy for you because 90% of it's already done. You just have to fold your brand into the beautiful brand they've created. If you're not at EXP or you're not in the luxury division, be mindful of the brand that you're putting out on the luxury side, that it exudes the feeling of confidence. And then the final thing is that I want to leave you with is really be thoughtful about what your identity is. Are you a person that has a real estate license? You're just a licensee. We know 1,000 of them. Are you a real estate professional? Are you a real estate salesperson? Are you a real estate agent? Are you a luxury specialist? Whatever it is, be mindful of what your identity is, and also mindful internally. Who are you? Meaning, are you a person that lets external input and news headlines and events and the ups and downs of everything kind of drag you out to sea without a path? Or are you a person that has kind of that centeredness, that strongness to say, I'm going to get myself through this storm, and I'm going to be toasty and cozy, and I'm going to feel good about it, and I'm going to come out of it better than I ever was. Like, I do not regret at all being on that Antarctica trip. Even if somebody told me that a once in a lifetime whiteout blizzard is going to come along when you do that, I would still do it again, because it really gave me an inherent also sense of confidence, because I was so strong through that, because I sharpened my mindset and I had my tools, my socks, my things like that. So same thing with you. Become that kind of strong person that says, I'm not going to worry about anything. I'm going to control the narrative, like Lisa said. And I'm going to be the people that seek me out, because they know that I am the lighthouse. I am the calm in the storm, that I am solid. I know my stuff, and I can help them get through whatever else is going on in the outside world related to real estate. I am that lighthouse. So start to think of yourself in that way. And I believe each and every one of you have that in you. It just takes some thoughtfulness. Sometimes we just aren't thoughtful. We don't slow down enough to think about who we are or who we are working into becoming. And we let ourselves get dragged. So I don't want that to happen to you. So I'm going to wrap it up here so that we can open it up for a few questions. And I know Lisa has some wrap up stuff. Like I said, I do have a worksheet, and you can get the worksheet book. That's the complimentary piece to this presentation. Um, Lisa might share the email list from the presentation. We can send it out that way. If not, you can follow me at Janie C. That's JANIEC for coffee on Instagram. And there's two things you can do there. You can follow the behind the scenes, BTS behind the scenes group I have there on Instagram, like the broadcast channel, or you can follow the link, which will take you to a link where you can sign up to a wait list for some courses I'm having. But if I see you sign up in the next few days, I will know that you want the workbook, and I'll send the workbook out to you. You can also direct message me at Janie C, or you can send me an email at janie@janiecoffey.com. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that Lisa can pop on here, and if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And then I think Lisa has some announcements and things like that as well.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Hopefully
I
that's
am amazed,
tangible.
Jamie. Thank you so much for everything. My head is spinning. And I started to write down some of the things I actually put in the chat, that roadmap that you had, because I was going to kind of try to summarize some of the amazing content that you gave us. And certainly I love the tip that you gave, number one, because people always think, oh my God, I can't do luxury. That means like this $10 million house that I know those agents, with the black and white sign, and they're the only ones that can do luxury in my market. And you may be very surprised to find out what the entry level luxury is. And don't forget, one of Janie's colleagues, Jana Caudell, who was one of the 5 on the original luxury advisory council, says, big and small, I sell them all. So don't make it seem like we don't sell anything else other than luxury
Right.
homes. Right? So find out in your market, what's that entry level luxury, and make sure that you're comfortable in honing in on that, because it is something that you can do. And this is going to be an amazing time, because I think a lot of people that have luxury properties are considering where they might want to reinvest. And so this is a really good time to continue to really shore up all of those resources. I love the way you also talked about analyzing the trends. You might think that like some areas in your neighborhood are great. When I first started doing
Right.
Realtor.com here in the Cape, it was a lot cheaper for me to do dentist support, right? So like I bought all this Realtor.com leads in Dennisport, only to find out after a while that I was getting all these $7,000 leased land properties at this one like weird place, and spending all this time, wasted time, on leads that were not what I was looking for at all. So it's really important to do your homework before you decide to enter or really to niche down in your area, look at a couple of zip codes around you. Look at what the market activity is like. Look at what how many expireds are in that market. We have all that information at our fingertips every day on a hot sheet. However, you have your hot sheet, whatever MLS you're in, you can get a hot sheet,
Right.
And also I think picking one or two things, we all have SOS, right? Shiny object syndrome. I won't say that. I have shiny object syndrome. Maybe all of you do not have that, but many of us in real estate do. And we have money. So we just keep buying all this great. Oh my God, I don't have to do anything. I can just pay I don't have to pick up a phone. Let me just pay to do whatever. So no, pick one or two things and try them for 6 to 12 months. I was told about direct marketing a long time ago. It doesn't matter what your card says. Somebody looks at it and throws it in the garbage. It's the fact that your name is in their mailbox once a month, every month. And that person said that if you don't want to invest for 2 years, you may be wasting your money. So some of these things really take time to really take a hold. So I love that tip also, that to really pick one or two things that you're going to really work on becoming really great at, and be aware of our inclination to the shiny object syndrome for sure. So I want to leave some time for questions and answers. I did have Raymar, my assistant, put in the chat a piece that Janie did. I was there for support on buyer compensation about a week and a half ago on the Elevate series. We put in the link, the YouTube link. So that's a whole nother conversation we're happy to have with you. But this is and I will have a mastermind in the next month or two on that, because we need to keep beating that drum right now. But Janie and I did a piece on that for eXp Luxury a couple of weeks ago, and the link is there in the chat as well. I think Raymar was going to put in a link also to one of the things that we do for a luxury market report. Not all that crazy. We took a couple of numbers, put it in a graphic every month, and then we send that out to all kinds of different lists through our CRM, post it, on socials, and it's an attractive one-piece thing. And it's, just an idea. Happy to share that template as well in Canva. So let's get some questions for the amazing Janie Coffey on luxury market domination in a shifting market. What do we have? I know.
Fired off. Hey, Janie, thank you for your presentation. Awesome. Question. So a lot of agents here probably don't focus a lot on luxury, and although they would love to. For someone, if one of us gets a listing presentation and it's in the top 1% of that market, okay, and we've never done a listing presentation before, we don't know, and they want us to show up tomorrow. They give us one day that says, hey, I hear you're an agent. What can you do to help me sell my home? And we're not prepared. What do we do?
You 100% partner up with somebody in your brokerage who does luxury, because it is very competitive in that top 1% for luxury on the listing side. They are normally looking for, how are you going to market their property different than just putting it in the MLS, just putting a sign out. They're looking for kind of a bespoke marketing plan that's online marketing, like in the Wall Street Journal, Robb Report, things like that. It normally might be special events, other kind of things. And if that's not your bailiwick and you can't pull that together in a nice, beautiful presentation to take tomorrow, 100% partner up with somebody in, if they're at eXp, partner up with somebody at eXp, ideally in the luxury division. But if not, somebody who does that already, because they already have everything ready to go. And you can do it 50-50. Their experience, your opportunity got you in the door. Their experience is going to help you nail the listing, and then you can share the cost of the marketing and everything like that. It's very hard to win that top 1% if you don't have something to show and confidently present. So many people in the luxury space partner with somebody for their first several listings, and that's exactly what I would do.
Yeah,
and it's a lot better to keep 50% of a $2 million sale than 100% of a big goose egg.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's very competitive at that upper price point. So you need to go in with somebody who can also speak confidently about what they've done, the successes they've had, because but that's the best and fastest way.
Absolutely.
I didn't even have to pay you to say that. Call Lisa Parento. She's your luxury agent right here. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Angie has a question. Her hand is raised.
Please, go ahead. Open your mic and go right ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Janie, for this presentation. I joined EXP Luxury at EXPCon.
Okay.
So I've been taking advantage of, a lot of things. I got my first $1 million listing on December, and my house has been sitting on the market. Now we're about to stage it. So, I can see more buyers coming out. So I'm hoping that it's going to sell. We are on the late, so it's going to sell.
Excellent.
Question for you is, I've been putting, I'm going to say 110% of my effort in work every day on social media.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot of time, right? But I'm finally having momentum in leads coming from social media. What else can I do? You mentioned, like right now, also, I have a wonderful 3.5 million. They haven't signed the listing agreement, but this neighbor reached out because she sees me very active in social media.
Excellent.
How can I take advantage of this as far as marketing? What else can I do?
So, I mean, you're lucky that you belong to EXP Luxury. So, of course, when you go in there, make sure that you activate your listings once they're listed. In your MLS, that you activate your listings so they're going out to the Wall Street Journal and the Robb Report and Mansion Global and all that stuff, because that's a huge tool that you have to show your sellers what you're doing to get it out there. For those kind of listings, I would have amazing video done. I would potentially do the dollhouse walkthrough, or at a minimum do Zillow 3D walkthrough. It's free. You might want to see if there's a print publication in your area that's really well looked at. Here in my area, Homes and Land is actually looked at a lot. So we always run ads in Homes and Land. A lot of that is also, by the way, not necessarily what's going to get the property sold, because at the luxury price point, a lot of what your job is just kind of incubating that seller, keeping them updated on the market so that they are nimble if you need to have a repricing strategy, or they have to look at a listing that an offer that they might not be excited about. Once they see you're doing everything possible to get it out there, they're going to be a lot more open to a price adjustment, or negotiating an offer that they don't love, or extending the listing if it's about to expire. So a big part of what we do in the listing space that looks like marketing to get buyers is also showing the seller that we're in it with them, and we're spending our money and our time to get their thing out there, and having those real conversations with sellers too. If you're up in the Northeast, I don't know where you are, we're just coming into the spring market. Everything kind of goes dormant. Even where I am in Florida, it's very slow. Northeast Florida, very slow December, January, February. And then, March through September are high months. So that could be what's going on with you as well.
It's a great opportunity, Angie, also to pick up the phone and to call some other agents that you've had co-brokes with, not just buyers, but agents. I mean, if you take a quick look at $1 Million Listing, any of the programs, they're on the phone, they're working the phones all the time with their colleagues in the luxury space. And I don't just mean, of course, not EXP. I mean all of your agent colleagues. And number one, you might sell the thing and they may not have noticed it. Just want to tell you about this house. It's been, it stays on market. It's about 47. And I just want to, I wanted to make sure I reached out to you personally. It also shows that agent that you're willing to do whatever you can to sell that property. And it's also telling your seller, you're making a list. I made 27 phone calls over the past week and I got some good feedback, and some of them never even saw it. So I'm going to work, whatever comes of it. But just the momentum of that activity is going to really be helpful, I think, as well.
Great tip. Thank you. What about marketing, like printed postcards, printed booklets? Is it worth it?
Yeah, printed booklets. So we do for every listing, even if it's 400,000 or 300,000, we do a nice 4 to 8 page booklet for every listing, because like Jana says, big or small, we sell them all. So big or small, we do great marketing for all price points. So we always have very nice printed from the printer brochures at our listings. So you 100% have to do that. I don't know that I would do direct mail unless you're already doing direct mail to that same mailing list every single time. Because then you're marketing your property, but you're also marketing yourself for future listings. I would not spend the money to do a one-off postcard because it's very, very unlikely that's going to bring a buyer. But if that's who you're mailing to every single month, at least every no longer than every 4 weeks, but ideally every 2 to 3 weeks, then yes. Again, we do print ads in the local magazine, not so much that we think we're going to get a buyer that way, but more our seller sees that we're doing everything possible.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let me see.
I'm trying to answer the questions in the chat too.
Share the equation to find luxury price in our area. Someone asked for that equation again.
Yeah,
Jane.
so simply go into your MLS, go into residential, and I don't know if residential breaks down like single family homes, condos, things like that. If it does, and you really want to break that out again, you can do that. If not, I would at least just do residential and then do closed sales, 6 or 12 months back, doesn't matter. And however many come up as closed, let's say 10,000 come up as closed, sort them priced highest to lowest in the list. The top 10% of 10,000 is 1,000. So I'm going to scroll down to the 1,000th property sorted by price. That's the start for starter luxury. I'm going to go up to the top 500 because that's the top 5%. That's going to tell me luxury. And then the top 1%, so the top 100, that's going to be uber luxury. Now that's also still a guide, meaning every single property over that top 10%, it might not be luxury. It might just have a lot of land to it. It might have an incredible location. It doesn't mean it's luxury. Conversely, you might be in a place where there's like condo hotels that are like one room condo hotels that are luxury, but maybe they don't fall into that, or the finishes are luxury. So you've got to use that as a guide, but you know in your heart of hearts more also what's luxury. Price is just one component of it.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you all. I want to be mindful of the time. Maybe Janie will stay for a second or two, but I want to be mindful of the time.
I could say no problem.
Yeah, and formally wrap up our session. So Tom Trong put in something. I know he wanted to mention he's doing a commercial event. There's a link in the chat. He's doing a commercial event. And also, if you want to hear more about eXp Luxury, about global and commercial, our big New England rally, Northeast rally, is going to be on Monday, April 8th. And actually today, I think, is the last day for early bird tickets. It's going to be at an amazing location in Worcester. Lunch is included. We've got Michael Valdez, the VP of Global Expansion, going to be there. And Tom and I will be your MCs. So hopefully that will be a very fun time. And always an amazing, those events are for agents, by agents, to celebrate our collaborative spirit and our vision and our community. So please consider joining. The links are there in the chat. So again, Janie, this has been absolutely amazing. You are amazing. One thing I remember so clearly, we had all this stuff to do. It was our first luxury certification we ever had at Shareholders. I was speaking on stage with you, different things. And Janie went out of her way to bring us all these little spice things from her area. It's just this little gift with a ribbon on it. And I always remember like how sweet, I mean, of all the things we were like worried about, she pulled out of her bag this little lovely gift for all of us for contributing. And it was very thoughtful, and your heart is huge. And I really appreciate you being here today. So happy International Women's Day, everyone. Go ahead, Janie.
And 2 people asked about the no call expired system. Like I said, just go to my Instagram, go to the link in my Instagram, and sign up for the wait list for when I come out with that course. That's going to be out in about 2 months. It is a very meaty, beefy course, but it also allowed me to list about $5 million of expired luxury listings in less than 2 years in a brand new market where, the average price was maybe $1 million, $1,500,000, something like that. Yeah. So go to Janie C.
We'll put your info into the, we always send a follow-up to everyone, so we'll put your info in there as well.
Okay, awesome. All right. And if you want the workbook, reach out to me or Lisa. We can get that out to you.
Absolutely. And we'll send that follow-up email for everyone. And we'll share that info with you as well, Janie. So again, thank you, everyone. I know your time is valuable. We always love bringing you these amazing masterminds, and hope you had a great one.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right.